Program started, and we would like to have the legendary drum band play a little while for us. Thank you so much. They did a good job. Give them a round of applause. And this drum belongs to our World War II Pacific War Memorial Hall. So in the future, if you need any demonstration, just let us know. Okay? Thank you. My name is Betty Yuan, and another MC is Professor Yawei Liu. Professor Liu. Thank you so much. Yeah, we will be the MC today. And the opening ceremony for the Chinese People's War of Resistance against the Japanese aggression, and the World War II China-Burma Indian Theater historical exhibition, and the premiere of the Bloody Battle of Songshan, and the open ceremony starts now. And we would like to invite Peter Chong. Peter Chong. We would like to invite two students. Their name is Kyrie Xue and Bo Qian Xue. They are going to sing national anthem, American song. Welcome.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and
Do they do the wonderful job?
Yeah.
Yes. Give them a round of applause again. We're so honored to have Sandy Chow say a few words. Welcome speech. Sandy Chow, he's very successful businessman and very successful. And not only that, he spent a lot of efforts for the community service. He's the true leader for us. Let's welcome Sandy Chow.
Welcome everybody, especially as today I think it's very important for me to be here, so I want to make sure my ride is important. I'm so glad that 7 terms Congressman David Wu is with me, and I'm very glad that today Ambassador Baucus and his wife is here, and then they're really friend of the Chinese, and thank you very much. But really, very deep into my heart, that in 1972 to 1975, I was in Vietnam, actually doing business, and then I would have the honor to work very closely with the Tiger airline at that time. So therefore, I think every year, between 3 to 5 times, I have lunch with Anna Chanot, and she's a very famous reporter, and later on becomes Madame Chanot. So it's almost like seeing her, seeing Nell. I just feel seeing General Chanot that have dedicated so much in the Second World War. I'm very honored to be in the same room with everyone. This is really, I am very appreciative that I have known Florence Fang. And she is so generous, so dedicated, and with a lot of determination, and then really want to make sure the message of war is really very cruel, and really we have to look at this history and learn from it and make this world a better place. I think all of you are coming here. We want to see the lesson of the history, so therefore we can learn from it and avoid how to share, how to cherish this wonderful world. I think this world has so much resource and so much good thing for us, but somehow during the past, because we are so wasteful, instead of fighting each other for the resources, we should share. And then always, history has told us, for those aggressors, the ending, none of them are good. So therefore, basically, to cherish this very small place. When I first look at the James Webb telescope, I said, our galaxy is 100 billion stars. And one star is like a sun, have a lot of planets. And there are actually more than 100 billion galaxies. But the James Webb tells us there's a lot more. So for all the vast in the universe, I don't really know there is a planet like Earth. And then this Earth is so precious. So we should really be in such way. We can only survive when we have peace. We can only survive when we consider our people are all the Earth people. Earth is very small. So therefore, basically, we will be very much like anything bad. A lot of people just have the habit not really cherish, and then be the aggressor. And then in history tell us aggressor always will lose. And then we have to learn from it. Otherwise, history will repeat itself. My first, my first exposure to the Second World War is when I was 8 or 9 years old. There's a movie called Bridge over the River Kwai. And in that you can see the tragedy and the human spirit. They just want peace. And then later on, I saw the documentary of the Bataan Death March, and it's really cruel. So in such a case, people really hate it. But on the other side, I was in Hiroshima 3 weeks ago. I look at that. War, people will pay a price. If you do not really look at all this artifacts, if you do not really have to witness the cruelty of that, and then we try to forget. I think this memorial place is very important for us to learn what has happened, and then also to see the bad thing happen, but at the same time to see the human collaboration. I was so glad that I see Nelly today, because during that time, it is the collaboration between the US and China to really against the oppressor. And then because of that, it is the spirit that really so important. I think the will of peace really put everybody together. I'm so glad that there are so many people here. I'm so glad that everybody eager and very serious about it. And then because of the support for everyone, because the spirit behind everyone, I think this place will thrive, and this place will provide not to us and to our children and the next generation. And then the meaning of it is it's not a negative thing, but rather a warning for if you do things that is not to the human nature, you'll lose. And then the important thing is this: instead of taking from somebody, we have to be generous, we have to be a giver. On the long term, we just win the trust from each other, and then we can spread our love, and then peace will sustain. And then thank you very much to be here. And then this is a very important day, because not only that a few years ago, it's already doing a lot of good, and then continue on, we add the more Pacific collaboration, and then we have the reading room, and then we expanded this place, and then it's continued to strive for excellence, and then also to have ourselves to go for direction, and more important, that our next generation also have a place like this one to continue this message. And I really thank Florence Fang that donated this place and dedicated so much of her energy and resources to make a good one. I really appreciate that, and then I really have a lot of feeling that I hope that some of you have the same feeling, then this is a time of collaboration. But one thing I want to add is this: the band and the drum, the marching band today, I have a suspicion that Betty had a hand in it, because in Taiwan the most famous marching band is Inizun. And then I look at them, and then I feel they are the one. But one thing about this band is this: it used to be a very big band, and then very famous even in the world. I think for many times, Rose Bowl, they're one of the best marching bands on Rose Bowl. So therefore, basically, I really thank Betty making that arrangement, and then the band is actually generous enough, will be actually serving the community. So therefore, serving the community, serving our next generation, and we are very thankful for the U.S. collaboration, and then we're very thankful for the Flying Tiger, and then everything. Because by collaborating, everybody will win, and peace will be sustained. And this is the meaning that we will have a better world.
I think Sandy has said it so well. This is a war memorial, but this is all about peace. This is all about to prevent possibly the US and China going to war. You know, when you watch the premiere of the Battle of Songshan, when you go upstairs, look at all the pictures, you'll see how brutal the war is, how much Americans and the Chinese and all other countries have suffered during the war, and why it is so important, so vital for us, as Sandy said, to work together, to collaborate together, but more importantly, to prevent another war from taking place. Be it, you know, stop the Russians, stop the Hamas, stop the Israelis, stop everyone from going to war. So now it is my honor and privilege to introduce the person who has made all this happen. You know, it happened early this year. I told my friend Charles Jin, I said, you know, there's this little place in Chinatown, in San Francisco. You know, we want to attract more people to come here so that they can remember about the brutality of the war. So they came over, and we sat with Deborah, we sat with Betty, and we came up with this idea, is to give a facelift to this museum. But Charles does need a little introduction. So he started as a military photographer, so he had the first-hand experience of the war itself. And then he came over here. He was one of the, I think he was the first Chinese to get a master's degree in photographer from the Art Institute of Maryland. But that could not support how he's going to live over here, so he got into business, and he's a millionaire. But he's not content being a millionaire. You know, he loves China, but he's also a patriot. You know, he loves America even more. So he's now spending his money trying to wage peace between US and China. So the floor is yours, Charles.
Very simple introduction, okay? My name is Charles Jin. Basically, I'm based in Atlanta, Georgia. Originally came from Shanghai. 35 years ago, I was a photo editor of Shanghai Pictorial magazine. 1989, I came to the United States to the Maryland Institute College of Art. I got a master's degree in photography. Believe it or not, I was very poor, no money, zero money. So I moved to Atlanta. I'm very blessed I started to sell the packaging material to Home Depot. So I made money, made a fortune, very blessing. Afterwards, I believe I started a photo collection. I collected, I believe, more than 2,000 pieces of a masterpiece of photography. 10 years ago, there's a French photo agency called Sipa Press. They got a financial problem, so I went in. I got I totally 100% owned. I bought them, and Sipa, right now, the Sipa Paris, Sipa USA, and Sipa China. We are the second largest photo agency in the world now. We have 16,000 photographers worldwide. Evidently, we have a White House photographer. We have a New York office. So I believe it's very blessing that when Dr. Liu Yawei asked me to help Florence Fang to build this exhibition, so I'm more than happy. I said, come. Then we started this in summer. Today, you will see the results. Let me give you, I believe it's a formal speech, very simple, okay? I don't want to take too long. Sorry. Distinguished guests, there is an old Chinese expression say the autumn of the golden phoenix is coming to us with the fruits of the settlement. Today, we come to San Francisco to share the fruits of this autumn with you. The large-scale immersive art exhibition carefully produced by Sipa China finally opened today on this good day. On this we call festival, I would like to thank Florence Fang's team, like Deborah, like Jingfen, and all the volunteers and all the colleagues of our Sipa creative team. Without your efforts beyond ordinary people, we would not have seen such results today. The immersive art exhibition with the theme of World War II is our first attempt. Our purpose is very clear. The most important thing to recall history is not only to remember history, but also to avoid recurrence of the human disaster like war. The process of creation is also the process of learning. I think the Chinese people will never forget the American flying tigers during World War II in Yunnan province. After seeing such a show, all I can think of are 4 words: bravery, sacrifice, dedication, and memory. We have the reason to believe that the friendship between the Chinese people and the American people will be passed on from generation to generation. And let us work together for the future of such a beautiful relationship. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Charles, for that brilliant speech. And so this is a collaborative work. You know, Sandy was talking about we all need to collaborate. So what you're going to see today is the collaboration, one of Florence Fang Foundation, and she actually provided the releasing. This is her property. And the second contribution is from Charles Jing, and the third contribution is from the Carter Center. So it's US-China Perception Monitor, which is a website, bilingual website dedicated to reducing misperceptions between US and China. And of course, the goal of reducing that misperception is to prevent miscalculation, which can easily lead to war, whether it's intentional or by accident. So President Carter, of course, has entered hospice, early February, and Mrs. Carter just entered hospice yesterday. So I hope you all, just like me, keep them in the prayers. And President Carter, his administration, Ambassador Baucus, Senator Baucus knows very well, is during his 4 years in the White House, American soldiers never fired a shot outside the US. Many Americans criticized him as being too soft. But he was really proud to say that's what America is all about. We want to wage peace all over the world. And that's the mission of the Carter Center. The first one is waging peace. The second is fighting disease. And the third is building hope. Charles said this is a good day. This is not a good day just for this memorial hall, but it's also a good day for US and China because the summit just took place on Wednesday. That summit, I think, served to dispel the gathering clouds of a potential conflict between the 2 days. So on behalf of President Carter, Mrs. Carter, our CEO, Paige Alexander, and Barbara Smith, our Vice President, I just want to extend the congratulations to this, and we will continue to be part of this exhibition. All right, our next distinguished speaker is going to be Ambassador Baucus, who probably needs no introduction. He served one of the longest serving senators from Montana, and then he was ambassador. I first met Ambassador Baucus in 2014, I think, when President Carter made his last visit to China, and Ambassador Baucus and Melody hosted President Carter at the residence in Beijing, and then we also had a Carter Center Forum on US-China relations that Ambassador Baucus was the speaker. And then during the pandemic, we invited Ambassador Baucus to have the Carter Center Forum on US-China relations. So he is, although he has retired, but he is tirelessly, patiently trying to work hard to bring the two countries to have better understanding of each other. So Ambassador Baucus, the floor is yours.
Thank you. And something happened with the microphone. We so enjoyed our visit in Beijing. We also visited Yunnan province to see the flying tigers down in the museum in Kunming, and very, very impressed with what we saw there. It's incredible. I think this museum here and this day here is exceptionally important. Why? I'll go back with Jimmy Carter. President Carter pursued peace, no question. But he also was one of the most courageous presidents in American history. Why? Because he saw the need to establish relations with China. And he was the first president to do so. That took a lot of courage back then, because a lot of Americans thought, what are you doing? Setting up a relationship and equal recognition with China. Took a lot of courage. And I think when we think of President Carter, we must remember not only how peaceful he was, but how courageous he was. Now here we are today celebrating the Flying Tigers and the great work they did in China. We're at a time when the relationship between our two countries is not what it was. It's not what it was when Jimmy Carter was president. When President Carter became president, opened up with Deng Xiaoping, China grew. The GDP of China now is about 50 times what it was back then. It's amazing, it's stunning. Now that has a bit caused some anxiety in America. A lot of Americans are concerned about that. Big, large China, rising China. So with this tension between our two countries that President Carter, frankly, did not anticipate. But here we are. I think the museum here should be attended by virtually everybody in America. Everybody in America. Why? Because it shows how Chinese and Americans work together. Not only work together, they fought together, and they're willing to give their lives together. Give their lives together for each other's country. Not only Claire Chennault and his team, but I might say that my father-in-law flew in World War II, a couple of years after the Flying Tigers. But he flew in China, he was a bombardier in China, and he was in China to give his life for America and for China. So many soldiers and flyers back then did. And I wish more Americans would just pause and think about that just a second. Because we work together. And we're together, as Dr. Chow explained, facing aggressors. We were stopping aggression. U.S. and China together, stopping aggression in World War II. So thanks for what you're doing here. And I urge you to keep it up, spread the word, let people know more about your museum here, get more press, invite more people, invite President Biden. It'd be great to have him come here. And now we get a lot of attention and cause people to think a little bit. Because we do need to think a little bit more as we address any issues of the world, but especially the issues of the United States and China. I'm hopeful, like Mr. Chow put his finger on it. People want peace. And American people and the Chinese people are virtually the same. Yes. We're all alike. We all want food at the table, decent incomes, take care of our kids, decent education for our kids, address air and water pollution, decent health care, be left alone a little bit, pursue our dreams. We're all the same. And I think if we stop and reflect on that a bit, that's going to be very helpful too. And the museum again demonstrates that two countries work very closely together at a time which is very important in world history. And thank you again for what you're doing.
Thank you so much. Ambassador Mr. Max Baucus. Next, we have another VIP come from, he's going to represent the Consul General, the people of the Republic of China in San Francisco. So we want to ask the Ray Xu come over to represent the Consul General. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ray Xu, Xu Siray, from Consulate General of San Francisco here. And here I feel honored and pleased to be here today to gather with all the distinguished guests and the friends from all walks of life to commemorating this special event, to commemorating the fierce and savage battle fought nearly 80 years ago at Yunnan province, which is helped by our U.S. friends, the Flying Tiger veterans, and also the Chinese Army at that time, all together to finally, that is the turning point of the Second World War. And we won the Second World War and removed, to push all the Japanese imperialist aggressive troops from China. And that is a starting point of China-US relationship, I think. And during my, it has been 2.5 years since last time I visited this museum, this event venue. And on my way to this museum this morning, I was thinking about what is the point of today's event. I think that is not only to commemorating the past, looking backward and also looking forward. What does history taught us? We should not only learn from the past and looking forward. During my nearly 2.5 year stay here, I find that the American people is a people that have the strong sense of justice. That is what is right and what is wrong. And I think that is a very heavy word in the US-American culture. That is wrong. Wrong thing not to do, right thing we should do. And 80 years ago, the right thing to do is to fight with Japanese aggressive troops and to unite it with the Chinese army and to facilitate the cooperation between the Communist Party and the Nationalist Party. That's the right thing. And nearly 80 years after that, 1979, the right thing to do is to have establish the formal diplomatic relationship with People's Republic of China. That's the right thing. And nowadays, I think the right thing is to the two sides, Chinese and US government, work at the same direction. And the two countries' people have more and more people-to-people relations, dialogues, talks, and mutual understanding. And also, we should find our mutual enemies. That is the poverty, the terrorism, and also a lot of negative things. That is the right thing we should do. And finally, I will thank you, all you volunteers and the hosts and all the passionate supporters here today, especially at this raining time, the wet seasons, coming here all together to commemorating our forefathers to fought that important battle, because that is also my grandparents' generation did in the 1940s in my hometown. My hometown is in the Shanxi province, Xi'an. That is where the Communist Party and the Nationalist Party united together at the 1930s, I think. Thank you very much today. And that is now my talk.
Jay and I, we came from the same city. That's where the Xi'an incident took place. Before I'm going to introduce the next speaker, I just want to share a little story that after Biden was elected, so before inauguration, I got a call in the middle of a Carter Center directors meeting. The call actually was from President Carter. And I was told that President Carter is on the line, he wanted to talk to you. I said, well, I don't know anybody of his team. He said, I want to let him know to start issuing visa to the Chinese students. I said, the best thing for you to do is to write a letter to President-elect Biden to make it happen. So he said, draft the letter. So in my 25 years at the Carter Center, the letter was completed at the end of the day, and the second day the letter was delivered to future Secretary of State Blinken. So that's, I will tell this story because Ambassador Baucus said, get President Biden to come over here. So the best way to do it is for you to send him a letter. He was your Senate colleague, said next time you're in town, probably for a fundraising, right? He wants to raise money for the 2024 presidential election. Tell him there's this little place in Chinatown, and then he should come and take a look. All right, so that's the story. And so Nell Calloway, of course, is the granddaughter of General Claire Chennault. I met Nell 14 years ago in a place called Zhejiang in Hunan province. So President Carter was asked whether he was willing to travel to Zhejiang to unveil the statue for General Claire Schwab. So that was a early September day, and Nell and President Carter, Mrs. Carter, they were all sitting like this, but not indoor, outdoor. The sun was actually quite, brutal. But President Carter, because we're waiting for the top Chinese official to come. So Nell and President Mrs. Carter, they're all waiting very patiently under the sun for the Chinese official to come. And then, this is September. If you Google it, you will see the picture of President Carter unveiling that statue for General Claire Schwab. So without further ado, now come up, and everyone loves you, and say.
Thank you so much, y'all, for having me and inviting me here. I have to say, I only found out the day before that I was going to have to give a speech before a former president. So I told everybody I stayed up all night long writing my 5-minute speech. So it was really quite an honor for me to be able to be there with them, and they were so gracious and understanding, and my prayers are with them now as they're going through this really difficult time. So many people have said things that I was going to say, so I'm going to make it a little shorter than I would. But what we're doing here this week is so very, very important. But what I do at the Chennault Aviation Military Museum is I remember history. I'm going to tell you just a little bit about my grandfather, General Chennault. He was in the United States military. He was a pioneer in fighter airplanes. He developed an aerobatic act called 3 Men on a Flying Trapeze, which they used flight formations, Eimelman's loops, different ways to be able to do combat with fighter airplanes, which had not been done during World War I. And he wrote a book about that. Well, the American military kind of said, we really don't need fighter airplanes anymore. Bombers can do it all. Bombers, we put guns on the side, top, front, bottom. They can fly faster, further. And we need you to just teach bomber tactics. Well, he said bombers are good, but we're going to need fighters. And he continued to teach that. Well, about that time, they said, you don't listen very well. We think maybe it's time for you to retire. Chiang Kai-shek in China had heard about his innovative tactics, and he invited him to come do a survey of the Chinese Air Force. And this was 1937. So many people think of my grandfather, General Chennault, and the Flying Tigers, and yes, that was important. But to me, the important part of what he was able to do, he was able to do with the Chinese people. He told my grandmother when he left, he was going to do a survey of the Chinese Air Force. He would be gone for 3 months. He got to China on June 1st of 1937. He did a survey of the Chinese Air Force. Chiang Kai-shek thought he had 500 airplanes. Chennault said, you have 500 airplanes, but you only have 91 that fly. That is how far behind in aviation they were. Now I'm going to say something that most people, it's something I've dedicated the museum to try to tell the Chinese story, because it's not told very often in the United States anymore. But most people don't realize that the Japanese invaded Manchuria, China in 1931. Between 1931 and 1945, the Japanese killed between 20 and 55 million Chinese people. Well, my grandfather did this survey the middle of June. It was a 4,500-mile trip that he made. And I think he saw firsthand what the Japanese were doing to the Chinese people. The actual war between China and Japan started about 6 weeks after he got there in July of 1937. He offered his services to China, and they were gladly accepted, and he was named the Chief Air Advisor to the Chinese Air Force. So to me, what he did in those 4 years before the Flying Tigers is of vital importance, and the Chinese never really seem to get credit for that. So he's Chief Air Advisor. The Battle of Shanghai starts in August, and then they have the Nanking that starts in December. He sees all of this, and he starts thinking, what can I do? There's only 91 airplanes that fly. The Chinese people are being bombed daily by the Japanese. So he started an early warning system in the summer of 1937. He trained hundreds of Chinese people how to listen to incoming Japanese airplanes, to tell what direction they were flying in and about when they would get there. It served 2 purposes. One, it gave those 91 airplanes the opportunity to get off the ground and to intercept the Japanese bombers. But the second thing it did, it gave the Chinese people their very first chance to run for cover before the Japanese started dropping bombs. In the villages, they had a 3-ball system. 1 ball went up, that meant the Japanese were 1 hour out. Second ball went up, that meant they were 30 minutes out. When that third ball went up, it meant they were under imminent attack. It was an incredible system, and it saved millions of Chinese lives. But it was because of the Chinese he was able to have this early warning system. About 4 years ago, the Air Force magazine actually gave him credit as this being one of the most sophisticated early warning systems of World War II. So it was an outstanding effort, but it was made up mostly of Chinese until the Americans came along in 1941. That was one thing he did. Second thing he did with the Chinese people was, of course, the Japanese, when they came and dropped the bombs, the first thing they dropped the bombs on were the runways to prevent the airplanes from taking off. So he was able to get hundreds of thousands, really, of Chinese people to sit there day and night and break the rocks and to repair the holes. And if you've been to China, which I know most of you are from China, you saw the big rollers. They would break those rocks and then they would roll them over the runways so those airplanes could continue to take off. The other thing he did was he started schools all over southern China. In Zhejiang, it was one of the first schools that he started. Hangzhou was an important school that he had to train Chinese pilots. The Chinese had been very poorly trained by the Italians early on. The Russians came along and did a better job, but then of course Russia had to leave because they got busy in Germany with the Germans and they had to go protect their own homeland. So all of these things are what he did with Chinese people. And you're the heroes of that story, because that infrastructure that he was able to build with Chinese people not only kept China in the war, but it also was the infrastructure for the Americans who would find themselves at war in a few years in a foreign land. So it was extremely important. But about 1941, early 1941, China was still very far behind, and the Japanese were just wreaking havoc all over China. And he came home, was able to convince with some Chinese businessmen to talk with President Roosevelt into allowing men to be able to resign their positions in the military, the Army, Navy, and Marine Corps, and be hired by the Chinese government. Roosevelt also signed a Lend-Lease Act allowing China to purchase 100 P-40 Warhawk airplanes that were delivered in China. They started training in the summer of 1941. The last group got there in November, and of course we all know what happened on December 7th of 1941. We as Americans that week woke up and we found ourselves at war on 2 different fronts. It was really something we were totally unprepared for. But on December 20th of 1941, a little less than 2 weeks after we found ourselves at war, this American volunteer group, they were able to shoot down 9 of 10 Japanese bombers over Kunming, China. They were the first Americans to have a victory in World War II. And in the 7 months' time that they flew for China, they are credited with shooting down 299 Japanese airplanes confirmed, about that many unconfirmed, and they only lost 12 of their own in actual combat. That record has never been broken to this day. He is now known as the father of tactical pursuit in our modern day Air Force. And then in 1943, he was promoted to Major General, and he was put in as the first commander of the 14th Air Force. The 14th Air Force would go on to set records as having the greatest number of victories of any U.S. fighter group of its size. So it was an outstanding, incredible time. We did fight together as brothers. That's what we have to remember. And I'm going to close. He wrote a book in 1949. He wrote his memoirs. The very last sentence of that book says, "It is my fondest hope that the sign of the Flying Tiger will remain aloft just as long as it is needed on both shores of the Pacific to show 2 great people working toward a common goal in war and peace." Look what they did by fighting a war. Look at the lives that we've all been able to enjoy since that time. Now it's up to us
in peacetime to give our future generations a better life. So thank you again for letting me speak and sharing this speech.
Thank you so much, Mom. This is my first time to this, and you're talking about a story about your grandfather, and thank you so much. The next speaker will be the Kenzie Chu, and he was former assemblyman and descendant of General Sun Li.
Thank you, Randy. It's really a pleasure and an honor to be with all of you this morning. I just want to take this opportunity to thank the organizer for putting up this wonderful Battle of Songshan. I have heard about it. I'm looking forward to see the real show. I just wanted to welcome our friend from Oregon, our Congressman David. Haven't seen you for a long time, and our sister Nell. You know, it's been a long time, and welcome to the Bay Area. And I'm looking forward to enjoying this movie with all of you. A lot has been said. You know, this is a good reminder for us that we Chinese people and the Americans are pretty much the same. And we love peace. We want to have a peaceful world that all the peoples in both countries can strive, can live a better quality of life. So with that, I just can't wait to see the movie. Thank you very much.
Is Dr. Jie Xu. And Dr. Jie Xu, and after you visit our museum, please give us some advice that we can improve. Okay? Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Actually, I'm here to learn from your museum as well, from Shandong Museum as well. And really very honored and to be invited to say a few words, and deeply touched by the remarks given by all the previous distinguished speakers. And I really want to start out by saying I echo all the sentiments expressed. And I find that the opening of this exhibition is particularly timely because our great city of San Francisco has just been the host of an APEC meeting when the economies across the Asian Pacific regions are here to discuss, explore the present, and looking at the future. At the same time, we should never forget the past. But the purpose of not forgetting the past is not only to honor the heroes of the past, but also to learn the lessons from the past so that we cannot forget history. And the humanities, being imperfect, will always have the time to make terrible mistakes. But we try to avoid as many mistakes as possible by learning from history. I think for the sake of common good, for peace, for love. And the Asian Museum's mission is not only to celebrate Asian art and culture, but also Asian American art and culture. And that is why we were very honored to play as hosts, as venues for several very important occasions during the APEC. But here, one very important story is also to celebrate how Asian Americans have participated in the World War II effort. That, for example, Chinese Americans, but also including Japanese Americans, fighting both in the Atlantic theater, but also in the Pacific theaters, where all Americans fighting for the common good, for a common cause. Looking forward, that I hope that in the future there will be more cross-institutional collaborations. And once again, this is such an important moment to commemorate the past, discussing the challenges and opportunities of the present, and really, hopefully, working together for a better future. Thank you very much.
The next speaker would like to invite Mr. Robert Wong, and he is the president of CCPA, 驻美中华总会馆. Let's welcome.
谢谢。大家好。Ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, Of course, Honorable Florence Fang, I just asked Nancy and she's not here, okay? Distinguished guests, especially our ambassador to China, past ambassador, welcome. It's glad to know you. Today I heard a lot of history of China. Earlier I was upstairs looking at all the pictures, all the souvenirs, read some of it because there's so much to read, so much to learn, so much to know. Like the people said here, the distinguished guests, we learn from our past. We have to, so that our future can belong here all over the world. My name is Robert Wong, and I am presiding president of the Chinese 6 companies here in Chinatown. First, I want to thank you all for the opportunity to meet all of you here this morning, here at the World War II Pacific Memorial Hall. It has been 8 years and more that the Memorial Hall has been open to the public. It seemed to me, myself, that it was only 2 years ago, because I have a bad memory. But time flies by very fast. I'm 8 years older from the grand opening of this place. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor for me to be here this morning to say a few words in front of you all. After more than a month of hard work by a group of volunteers here and other places, they have put together a new exhibition titled Battle of Songshan at the second floor of this building. I took a look at the new exhibition upstairs earlier today before I came up here, and I was so impressed with it. Wow, I need more time to absorb all that is upstairs. Wow, was it impressive. Gee. Please, ladies and gentlemen, you all should stay and look at it. Try to absorb it. It'll take me some more time to completely absorb everything upstairs. But right now I got another meeting, so please stay safe and have a good time in Chinatown. Thank you all. It's so nice to meet all you distinguished guests. Thank you.
Good luck to the 6 companies.
Thank you, Mr. Wang.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wang. Before you leave, okay, please invite all the people you know come over to visit us.
Definitely. Every time, you know, we have some sort of meeting here, I got all the people here, especially all 7 presidents. We have one more president because in 1993, we added one more. So actually, it's the 7th company.
7 companies. Okay.
But,
each company needs to send
6 company is good. You know. Thank you all.
Okay.
Thank you so much. And now we're going to use a iPad to count how many people you invite. Okay, thank you. The next days. So each volunteers, they work for our museum from Wednesday to Sunday from 10 to 4 o'clock. So this year we would like to present President's Volunteer Service Award to our volunteers. This year we have 18 volunteers. They will receive the award. And we have 7 people can get a bronze certificate, which they have to work for us more than 100 hours. And the second is silver award. They have to work 250 hours per year for us. We have 4 people will get the gold award. They have to work 500 hours, not only for our museum, for other organizations. So total count is 500 hours. So we would like to invite Kansen Chu and Ya Jing and Zhao Ye come over to present the bronze awards to our volunteers. Let me call their name. So when I call your name, please come over. David Xu, Xu Zhuang, Xintanya Tan, Tan, Wei Lin Yang, Po Xin Peng, Hua Zhang Fan, Wen Pian Yu, Fan Yi Wu, please come over. David, don't leave. And you are going to present a award to our volunteers. Give us 2 more minutes, okay? Yeah. Okay, so please, when I call your name, please on the stage. All the volunteers, we're going to take a group picture. So give them give them the certificate, and then they can present all the volunteers. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So come over, we take the group picture, okay? Thank you so much for all the volunteers. Because of your help, and our World War II Memorial Hall Museum can be success. Thank you. Okay, now here I am. Okay, get a picture. We'd like to invite Deborah, come over and take a picture with them. No, you will come in. Okay, just take a picture. Okay, next we would like to present the Silver Award. Maybe just that. We would like to ask, how about Jim? You present for us? Yeah. Okay, let me call the name. Xu Liang Zhang, Jimmy Zhang, Elvin Wang, James Ng, Qinghua Zhao, Benju Liang, Quan Yideng. Please on the stage. Yeah. Take picture. Don't leave. Yeah. Elvin, don't leave. Okay. Take picture. Yeah. Move there. Yeah. We take picture. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Now we would like to present the Gold Award to 4 volunteers. They are Pansy Zhuang, Lydia Yang, Hong Lin Ye, Sandy Chong is left. Okay, let me see. We would like to invite our former ambassador to come over to give us the Gold Award to all the volunteers. Per year, they can work 500 hours for our communities. That's amazing work. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, we take a picture.
Let's take a picture together.
Yeah, we take a picture. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ambassador. Now is the time for the ribbon cutting. I would like to invite to invite the people, all the volunteers. We would like to invite Sandy Chow, Charles Jin, Liu Yawei, our ambassador, Baucus and the wife, Nell, Kenzie Chu, Stacy Chu, Jie Xu, Robert Wang, Zhang Yajing, Deborah, Zhao Yan, Yan Chao, Peter, Yuan Wen, Li Lijun, Li Li, Emma, come over. Xu Rui, Rui Xu. Deborah, come over. Yuan Wen, come over. Peter Zhou, come over. Emma, do you want to come over? Emma. Okay. Deborah, come over. Deborah. Where's the volunteers? Peter, come over. Peter. Peter, come over. Peter, you're in the middle. You represent our revolution.
Okay, everybody good? Okay.
I mean, count this 3, 2, 1, okay? Okay. 3, 2, 1. Give us a round of applause. Okay, let's throw this flower up. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Yeah! All right. Okay, now. Okay, wait for the picture.
Oh, group picture? Okay, group picture, everyone. Okay, everybody good? Okay.
I mean, count this 3, 2, 1, okay? Okay. 3, 2, 1. Give us a round of applause. Okay, let's throw this flower up.
Look at Mr. Tam.
Thank you.
我们哪个小朋友也过来？
两个小朋友过来。
来，这外面。
我知道 we have a very famous broadcaster Liu Xin is here. Liu Xin is here.
She's gone.
Okay.
This is the most important moment.
1944, as American troops aiding China against Japanese aggression, we embarked on a significant journey, crossing vast distances and the home. We entered this enigmatic Eastern Asia, witnessing the resilience of war displaced locals. Each enemy planned way down, spared numerous families from every moment. These enduring, transcendent battles, it was a crusade for justice and freedom, and we pressed unwavering in our fight for justice.
103 the 1,000 plus kilometers one-way road.
In September 1944, as American troops aiding China against Japanese aggression, we embarked on a significant journey, crossing vast distances and the Hun. We entered this enigmatic Eastern Asia, witnessing the resistance of war-displaced locals. Each enemy flood without spared numerous families from arrogant wonderment. This endured, transcendent battle, it was a crusade for justice and freedom, and we pressed on unwavering in our fight for justice.
In Western Yunnan, the 1,000+ kilometers winding road connects China to Burma, loaded by 200,000 laborers, mainly elderly, women and children. With London and Shanghai, their perseverance led to its 1938 opening. The Japanese army was stationed near Songshan, approximately 40 miles from Huitong Bridge. Their goal was to obstruct Huitong Bridge and command the vital Lujiang River choke point. On May 5, 1942, Japanese forces seized the west bank of Huitong Bridge, prompting the Chinese National Army to destroy the bridge. Chinese reinforcements survived, defeating the Japanese. When the Japanese attempted to cross the Wu River, the American Air Force in China destroyed their equipment and floating bridge, forcing the Japanese retreat to Songshan Bay on the New River's west bank. In January 1942, the Chinese Expeditionary Force, led by Major General Sipa and Commander Luo Zhuoying, began intense battles in western Yunnan. Numerous Chinese troops were deployed to western Yunnan, with our assisting forces divided into 3 units in Burma and Kunming. One unit secured the Burma Road supply route, while another defended the rear battlefront. In May 1944, the Chinese army launched a major counter-offensive in western Yunnan. Utilizing 2 remaining iron roads at Huitong Bridge, they rebuilt it. The unit then crossed the Lujiang River, reaching Kunming through rolling dragging stone. The American volunteer group AVG had 3 fighter squadrons that participated in many aerial battles against Japanese planes. The P-40 fighters, painted with shark teeth, were initially mistaken for flying tigers by Chinese residents who had never seen sharks. Consequently, they became known as flying tigers. On June 4, 1944, 30 American fighter planes bombed 40 strong Japanese bunkers, signaling the start of the intense Songshan battle. On July 1, 1944, 30 kilometers north of Songshan, the repaired Lujiang Bridge enabled the transport of over 100 large artillery pieces across the river. This led to intense combat between Chinese and Japanese forces, with all 200,000 troops of the Expeditionary Army engaged. On July 5, 1944, the 8th Army initiated its attack on Songshan. By 3 a.m., the 3rd Regiment's assault team had reached the base of Songshan's main peak. The Chinese army repeatedly charged Japanese positions, surmounting obstacles, barbed wire, and trenches. They attacked the Ziyangdi front from the right wing, catching capturing frontline positions in close combat. At Maolongxiao Mountain Pass in Wenling County, tens of thousands of Chinese soldiers climbed sheer cliffs to reach the enemy's rear, taking advantage of the cover at night. However, they walked into Japanese firepower ambush, resulting in heavy casualties. The Japanese built 3 glass fortresses on Songshan, connected by a network of trenches. Their camouflage made them hard to detect and destroy, both the air and ground. This forced the Chinese nationalist soldiers back. The United States sent Flying Tigers and, with the Allied forces, launched artillery. Relentlessly bombarded Japanese positions on Sunshine, 5 days and nights. The Chinese army then charged the main peak. The overwhelming Japanese firepower led to a failed attack. After analyzing the battle, the Chinese army opted to use American flamethrowers for precise bunker strikes. The American military offered substantial material assistance. The Chinese army employed flamethrowers at this work. They produced to approach Japanese bunkers systematically, leading to the destruction of the bunkers one by one, with thick smoke billowing. Minor skirmishes persisted as Chinese soldiers around Songshan's main peak engaged in a seesaw trench battle with the Japanese troops. Failing to capture the mountain pass. On the night of August 6th, the Chinese army initiated a surprise attack on the high ground. Hundreds of suicide squads infiltrated the area at night, engaging in brutal hand-to-hand combat with the Japanese. By August 7th, they secured all the passages. The Japanese army's supplies were bad. The Chinese army dug an underground passage, planting hundreds of tons of TNT remaining to major Chinese fighters. This explosion would severely affect Japanese marine. Victory was imminent.
Flying there, I as all soil from the main peak will return. 2 smoke, fires, and rain of stones, trees, humans, and cloud. It seems the war was nearly its end. The 120-day Songshan battle with 7,774 Chinese cannon saw the annihilation of 1,250 Japanese troops, resulting in a 6-to-1 casualty ratio, with battalions really outnumbered the wounded.
Because it was like, we put this on 2 rooms, and thanks to all the volunteers, myself, volunteers wanted to go stepping up and help. Some of them looking like it's a full-time job for them. Yeah.
Yeah, we have this organizational chart much larger in our museum. Yeah.
Let's go back here.
Yeah.
Cảm ơn anh quá, hay ạ. Girl piece, okay?
Oh, that's us. Yes. I remember that. That was in 2015. Right? 2015.
对，
Wow, almost 10 years ago. 他说2015年的。
对呀，你看我们好多呢，你看这还有这幅画，
Yeah.
在我 office。
We were there for the parade. Xi Jinping's parade in 2015.
2019年的，对
So that's 2019.
15.
我为他们筹款的。
Oh wow. It's almost 10 years.
你给我那个章记得吗？
You can send a
I did.
water.
哦，你懂。
Welcome letters or thank you letter for Ms. Fang for providing, donating this exhibition hall. So we have letters all over the world.
That is wonderful. Ours Chain's mother, she sent me her book.
Wow.
That she wrote. Yeah, that was an amazing book. So sad what happened to her.
Yeah.
At the end. Yeah, very sad. So was Iris here at this museum?
No, I don't think she's
That she ever made it here?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was, you know, my grandfather was there during the Rape of Nanking.
Oh.
Yeah, he was in Nanjing at the time, and he actually, they had a safe zone in the middle of the city that you know that the Japanese left alone, but he heard they were out of medical supplies, so he actually flew over and dropped medical supplies into the safe zone to try to help with medical care. Yeah, oh, it was very dangerous, but he knew he had to do it because it would save so many thousands of Chinese people, and so he was willing to risk it for that. And then shortly thereafter, I think they moved the capital to Chongqing, so from there.
Thank you.
Oh, this is the year that my grandfather came, and he was there during this event. Yeah.
Art. And we have a little artifacts on the braveries on the shoulder right here.
Oh, do you?
A little statue, but
Oh.
yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
It's really sad, but it's very powerful. Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
I can take a picture. Go slowly.
Okay.
Later on, I'll take.
Okay, thank you.
We can take. Let me send you.
Okay, okay.
Oh, this is Zhejiang, I'm sorry.
So he's with the media, Chinese media.
Where's Florence?
Yeah. Yeah, she's not able to make it.
I know, I'm really sad that
She's
I'm
okay.
Is she?
Yeah, so we have a lot of controversial opening this hall. We see a lot of letters from Japanese people. Really? Because this showed what have they done, right? So we have under a lot of pressure. Miss Fang she said, this is a history. History should be remade. You can't ignore it.
No.
The fact is the fact.
Right.
So under like a year or two of pressure, Miss Fang said, you know what? This is my place. This is the history. This is the factual. We ought to show it to the world. And then she made it happen.
No, it definitely needs to be told because the Japanese, from what I understand, they've never been taught the history.
No, they totally ignore it.
Yeah, they ignored it.
On the textbook, it's not even there.
No.
Like, none of the young people know, really? Are
No.
you sure? Or
See,
it's
we've
like
had
fairy tale or something?
We've had a Japanese university that visited the museum, and I had the same experience. But I'm like Ms. Fang. I told them, this is what happened, and this is history, and it's important to remember history so we don't repeat that.
Yes, especially during this crucial time,
Yeah.
and it's important to know this part. This is what happened after that. So the world is facing a lot of challenges. I think this part of the story should be told.
Absolutely. You don't learn anything if you don't remember the past.
So under all this pressure, Miss Fang do it anyway.
Yeah.
You know how she is.
Yeah.
The more challenges, the more motivated to do it.
I was at the I was there. They had, not during this time, but I've been there at the Zhejiang here at this museum. They have a museum now where they sign the papers, the surrender papers.
1月后来南京约翰姐妹随即遭美军追击，警于海。12月12日，唐在未部署撤退的情况下，突然下达弃城命令，自己出境逃跑。南京驻军失去指挥，发生冲突。第2天，南京陷落。随后发生南京的悲剧，后蒋介石自然没有可能认死。在之后再也没有中国。1947年内战时，他在武汉参加。
What is that about?
Those are the newspapers related to I'm not sure they asked
They look like the real ones.
Yeah, because Miss Fang
据妻子回忆，在文革中，他因拒绝参与揭发曾经的老部下而受到关押。1970年4月6日，在长沙因肠癌突发罹难，中美与南开土攻之，傅作义也帮不上忙。导致弟弟在其恶毒医治，在他身边当土爷，立下大功的广西人。1914年，保定军官学校毕业，武力上军2级上将，是白崇禧的广西同乡和军小学同学，阅历上，白崇禧是中山人。抗战后，
我也来，好，小马，看过来，看过来。
王道在会上极力宣扬毛泽东。
Mr. Baucus, do you speak a little bit Chinese?
No.
A couple of years of China.
No, she does a little bit, but I've forgotten most of mine.
You made
Oh yeah.
Yeah, of course.
The problem is that Chinese is so tonal that unless you hear really, really well, you're going to mess up.
Yeah, just the Mandarin. So many tongues are similar.
Yeah.
好久不见。
好久不见. Oh, okay. 好久不见.
No, I don't try. He's braver than I am.
Okay.
No, a couple of phrases. Julie, how are you? 祝你好运。
哦，祝你好运。哦，祝你好运。祝你好运。
Now look at Mrs. Remember Mrs. Fang? She was a big. She organized the whole thing.
Donated the flying tiger fish.
Remember her? She's over
And
here.
I remember him.
They forgot to put me in the picture. Nell and Nell.
Yes. Right there. Good picture. Okay. Very nice. Very nice.
Okay. Okay.
I'll get James in here.
I'll join later.
Okay. Look at Mr. Tam.
I had you on my show. Oh. Here in the U.S. or in China? In China?
No, this is the CGT.
In Beijing.
I was in Beijing for a year. We did an interview via Zoom.
Zoom. Okay.
The Zoom. Nell Calloway. Nice to meet you.
It's she.
Xin, yes. Not the reading glasses.
Oh, reading glasses. Yeah, that.
Right. Yeah.
That'd be good.
Yeah, look here. 3, 2, 1.
This is right here. Exactly. Yes, we still have it. Yeah.
So he didn't have it so long ago.
I don't know.
Yeah, we just found it.
We found it. Yeah. What a nice surprise to see you, and I'm sorry I missed the email.
I tried to send it through the email. I'm told the only way to connect is through email.
Yes.
Yeah,
that is best. But we were traveling so much this week back from China. And,
probably don't look at the email. Like once a week or something.
well, a little more. But
Yeah.
She gives me a hard time saying I don't look at my email. She thinks I should look over it. I don't very much.
Oh, WeChat's everything. Yeah. And I haven't moved. I don't.
I was stunned. Over 7,000 Chinese soldiers died. More than 2,000 Japanese soldiers died. For what? Fighting over one country's ideology versus the other. War never works. Nobody wins in war. The aggressor almost always loses in war. But we see the death, the destruction. It's a great reminder to do all we can to avoid war.
Well said. We must do everything we can.
Yeah, so only get the press all together, so instead of doing it individually. Okay. All right, and then you get out of so we have the Chinese press here from 2-channel newspaper and the Single in the World Journal, one of the biggest, they're the biggest in America right now. So they would like to ask you, what do you think of this exhibition?
I think the exhibition is terrific. I wish more Americans would come to San Francisco and see this exhibit. If more Americans were to come to San Francisco and see this visit, they'd realize several things. Number one, just how awful war is. We have to do whatever we can to avoid war. But second, the cooperation between Chinese soldiers and American soldiers working together, each willing to die for his own country and for the other's own country to stave off the Japanese aggression. But the main point is how well our two countries work together. We have to remember that. During this time when there's tension between our two countries, it is so important to reflect back upon our history, where we worked well together, and we can work together very much in the future, and that's what we should strive to do.
Thank you.
You bet.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, okay, thank you.
You're
Great
welcome.
job. Okay, so Same question. How do you feel about this exhibition and the significance of this hall?
I think the significance of it is that everybody needs to see it, you know, and the thing that is so important, it puts us all on the same level. You know, the cultural differences don't make any difference when you're fighting for your life. You know, we don't see the differences in each other. We only know that we are together in a common cause and united toward a common cause. And that's what we did in a time of war. We united toward a common goal. Now we need to do that same thing so that we can keep this peace that we've had and to work out all the differences that we have, because we really all want the same thing. We want to live in peace. We want to raise our families. And you know, we find that if we really look at it, that we really have far more qualities that are the same than are different.
Thank you. Good job.